It's now the season of Teshuvah. And Teshuvah has become a cliche. 6 days to Yom Hadin. We're all very invested in doing Teshuvah. But what does Teshuvah mean? What does it really mean? So I'd like to share with you a little story about a woman who was a middle-aged woman who unfortunately sustained a heart attack. She was rushed to the ER, and from the ER she was put on the operating table. And during bypass surgery, her heart stopped and she experienced a near-death experience, an NDE. And during her near-death experience, she met God. And she asked God, she said, "Is my time really up?" And God said to her, "No. I'm going to give you another 43 years, 8 months, and 2 days." She says, "Wow, 43 months, 43 years, 8 months, and 2 days." And she lived. So she decides she's not leaving the hospital. First, she'll go for some liposuction. She'll go for a tummy tuck. She'll go for some Botox. And while she's there, she'll also go to the beauty parlor in the hospital and dye her hair and get some contact lenses. She always liked blue eyes. So she emerges from the hospital, a totally different person, amazing. She crosses the street from the hospital and a truck hits her. And she dies. She goes upstairs and she says to God, "I don't understand you. You said I have another 43 years. And God said, "Oh, gee, that was you? I'm sorry I didn't recognize you." You know, that's precisely what Teshuvah is. We've all aberrated, we've all transgressed, we've all fallen, we've all hurt, we've all failed, we've all faltered, we've all sinned. And unfortunately, we've stained ourselves. It's almost like an ineradicable mark, an indelible imprint that we've made upon ourselves, our souls. And you say, how can I get beyond that? How can I repent? After all, look what I've done. Look how atrocious it is. Look how much I've disappointed. Look how much I've failed. Look how much I've hurt. I've transgressed. I've sinned. How can I move on? And the answer is that when you examine your ways and when you weed out your negative character traits. You know, it just happened to me this past Sunday. This past Sunday, I had the schus of officiating at an unveiling for somebody that was unaffiliated. And I wanted to ensure that there was a minyan for a Kaddish. So I brought some students from BGX. And on the way back from the cemetery, this fellow, who was only he's only observant a little over a year. Beforehand, it's like almost a creation ex nihilo. Because beforehand, he was a spiritual cadaver. He had nothing. Didn't know olive face, knew nothing about Shabbos. And now he's sitting with me in the car. And he's in the back seat. And he says to me, he says, "Rabbi," and I couldn't believe it, he was actually holding a Sefer Orchos Tzadikim. He knows it's Elul. He's preparing for Rosh Hashanah. How many of us hold the Sefer Orchos Tzadikim? He says, "Rabbi," he says, "tell me, what are my negative character traits?" I said, "You really want to know?" I said, "Wow, how many people ask that frank and candid question? How many people actually inquire? Ask someone, say, where am I holding a life? How can I improve? What's the matter with me? What have I done wrong?" I was awestruck. But that's what Teshuvah is. Teshuvah means that you're ready to weed out. You're ready to acknowledge, to confront, and say, listen, perhaps I'm impatient. I have a bad temperament. Maybe I'm stingy and frugal. Maybe I have lust for something. And I said, how am I going to work on this? It's not a seismic change. It's incremental, but incremental means that I've tackled and I'm not living in ignorance and I'm not ignoring the reality. And when you do that, you become who you weren't. You actually become a different person. To the extent that God, Ribono Shel Olam, the master of the universe, the Bashefer, the creator, he says, one second. He says, that's not the person I rendered judgment on. That's not the person who was supposed to be doomed. That's not the person who I made a gezar din against. That's somebody, I don't recognize her. Who is she? It's a different person. That's a new bria. That's how the Zohar explains. Because when you do teshuvah, you're eradicating. You're becoming a new person. Without the tummy tuck, without the liposuction, without dyeing your hair, without putting in fake contact lenses, you become a new person. You become a new reality. And Ribbono Shel Olam says, I can't judge you because I don't recognize you. Who are you? You're amazing.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.